Hey there, my amazing royal watchers. I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. Welcome to another episode of Untold Royal Secrets. It's your favorite royal critic back here again, coming to you with an absolute bombshell that's going to shake the royal family to its very core. Grab your cups of tea, settle in, because what I'm about to share with you today is nothing short of explosive. We're talking about the end of the road for our favorite royal traders. That's right. Prince Harry and his puppet master Meghan Markle are reportedly being formally axed from the line of succession. And let me tell you, my friends, this news couldn't come at a better time for those of us who have been waiting to see some actual consequences for their treacherous behavior. So now I want to dive deep into this shocking development because there are so many layers to unpack. According to Radar Online, Prince Harry has been formally axed from the line of succession. What does this actually mean? Well, my loyal viewers, it means that when Prince William becomes king after his father, King Charles, passes, his younger brother and that power-hungry wife of his will be stripped of their royal titles. Finally, I've been saying this should happen for years, and it looks like the palace is finally listening to common sense. A source close to the palace revealed Prince William plans to flex his muscles and wipe his wayward brother, Prince Harry, and his power-hungry wife, Meghan, from the history books. And honestly, I'm not going to shed a single tear over that, are you? After everything they've put our beloved working royals through, being wiped from the history books seems like the bare minimum consequence they should face. But wait, it gets even juicier. The same source continues, behind the scenes, people are saying the royals have quietly sanctioned the title removal. The removal would require an act of parliament, but it's hardly a secret that the palace has already conducted secret meetings with members of the government to discuss putting the plan into action. So not only is Harry being formally axed from succession, but the wheels are already in motion to strip them of those precious titles they've been clinging to while simultaneously trashing the institution that bestowed them. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Can they actually do this? Well, yes, they absolutely can. Remember, the monarchy isn't just some celebrity club. It's a constitutional institution with serious powers and responsibilities. When you turn your back on that institution, mock it, belittle it, and try to profit from it while standing outside throwing stones, there are consequences. And it seems those consequences are finally catching up to the Duke and Duchess of Montecito. What's particularly fascinating about this development is the timing. According to royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams, Harry's disastrous BBC interview has not helped matters at all. In fact, it appears to have accelerated this whole plan to remove their titles and axe them from the line of succession. Fitzwilliams stated the interview was a disaster because the royals feared the Sussexes would go to the press. If he says he wants reconciliation, if there is to be any, it should be private. But we all know private isn't in the Sussex vocabulary. Don't we? Everything has to be a Netflix special or a tell-all interview or a ghost-written memoir full of exaggerations and outright fabrications. They simply cannot help themselves. They've built their entire post-royal brand on airing royal dirty laundry, and they are not about to stop now. So is it any wonder that King Charles has allegedly given Prince William the power to forever change the monarchy? A source close to the situation explains, as far as Prince William is concerned, Harry left on his own terms. He lives in America, and that's absolutely right. Harry himself has listed himself as an American resident in documentation related to his travel initiative. He's chosen America, chosen to turn his back on his heritage, his family, and his duty. So why should he retain the privileges of a position he's abandoned? I say good riddance to bad rubbish. The source continues, he obviously doesn't want to be a royal anymore unless it suits him or unless he can make money out of it. And isn't that the absolute truth? Harry and Meghan want all the prestige, all the difference, all the special treatment that comes with royal titles. but none of the responsibility or duty that accompanies them. They want to cash in on their connections while simultaneously painting the institution as racist, outdated, and cruel. It's the height of hypocrisy, and I'm thrilled that Prince William seems ready to put an end to it. At this point, the source concludes, Prince William would never allow Harry to be in line for the British throne, and he's ready to take the measures to ensure that. And when I read that, my friends, I immediately thought of that chilling rumor that's been circulating for years, that Meghan supposedly said she was just one plane crash away from being on the throne. Whether or not she actually said those words, the very thought gives me shivers up and down my spine. Can you imagine someone so calculating, so ambitious, so utterly devoid of any genuine connection to Britain or its people sitting on our throne? The very idea is nothing short of terrifying. So yes, it makes perfect sense that William would be hellbent on making sure that once he becomes king, Harry and the entire Sussex line are removed from the line of succession, and beyond that, stripping them of their titles as well. According to this report, everything is already in place. The mechanics, the process, all ready to go the moment Prince William assumes the throne. And here's the kicker. King Charles has reportedly already spoken to William about it and given him his blessing to proceed. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Now, what does formally AXED actually mean in this context? Well, according to the source, it means Prince Harry has, for all intents and purposes, officially been axed from the line of succession, and it's only a matter of time before his titles disappear as well. All the mechanisms are being set up so that the moment William becomes king, he can set this process in motion with a simple nod. Can you imagine the meltdown in Montecito when this finally happens? I can just picture Meghan pacing around that gaudy mansion, phone in hand, frantically calling her PR team, demanding they do something, anything to stop this from happening. And Harry following behind her like the lap dog he's become, nodding along to whatever strategy she concocts. It would be pitiful if it weren't so deserved. Let's be honest here, Harry and Meghan have brought this entirely upon themselves. From the very beginning of their relationship, there were warning signs that Meghan wasn't cut out for royal life. The speed with which they got engaged, the lavish wedding that cost British taxpayers millions, the immediate complaints about royal protocol and tradition, it all pointed to someone who wanted the tiara, but not the responsibility that came with it. And then came the bombshells, the opera interview where they accused an unnamed royal of making racist comments about their unborn child. The Netflix documentary where they painted themselves as victims of an uncaring, rigid institution. The spare memoir where Harry aired every petty grievance he'd ever accumulated against his family, each betrayal worse than the last. Each one designed to maximize damage to the institution while lining their own pockets. Meanwhile, what have they actually accomplished since leaving royal duties behind? What philanthropic achievements can they point to? What positive change have they effected in the world? Their Archerel Foundation appears to be little more than a website with vague mission statements and stock photos. Their Netflix deal has produced precisely one documentary series about themselves naturally and a cooking show that hasn't even launched yet. Their Spotify deal collapsed after Meghan's podcast, Archetypes, failed to connect with audiences, and now we have American Riviera Orchard. Meghan's latest attempt to monetize her Duchess title by selling jam. Really, is this what they left royal duties for? Compare their output to that of William and Catherine, who have continued to serve diligently and effectively throughout some of the most challenging years the monarchy has faced. While Catherine has been battling cancer, she still managed to launch initiatives like Shaping Us, focused on early childhood development. William has continued his groundbreaking work with the Earthshot Prize, tackling climate change in innovative ways. They've shown up for their country during COVID, during the cost of living crisis, during times of national celebration and mourning. That's what duty looks like. That's what being royal means. And let's not forget King Charles and Queen Camilla, who have seamlessly transitioned into their new roles. Despite Charles's own cancer diagnosis, the king has maintained a punishing schedule of public engagements, continuing the work that has defined his long decades of service. Camilla has been a rock by his side, representing the monarchy with dignity and warmth. This is what Harry and Meghan turned their backs on. Not just titles and privilege, but the opportunity to make a genuine difference in people's lives. What's particularly gling about the Sussex situation is their constant attempts to have it both ways. They want privacy, yet they sell their private lives to the highest bidder. They want to be free of royal duties, yet they cling to their royal titles like life preservers. They claim to want reconciliation with the royal family, yet they continue to lob grenades from across the Atlantic. It's a masterclass in hypocrisy, and quite frankly, the British public has had enough. A recent poll showed that Harry and Meghan's popularity in the UK has plummeted to record lows. They are now less popular than Prince Andrew. Let that sink in for a moment. The British people, who once embraced Harry as their cheeky, charming prince and welcomed Meghan with open arms, have completely turned against them. And it's not hard to see why. Loyalty means something in Britain, duty means something, family means something. And Harry and Meghan have betrayed all three. So yes, I'm looking forward to the reign of King William, when these two opportunists will finally face the consequences of their actions, when they'll no longer be able to trade on royal titles while undermining the institution that bestowed them, when the line of succession will reflect those who are actually committed to serving the British people, not those who abandon their posts for celebrity and financial gain. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, isn't this a bit harsh? Shouldn't family be able to reconcile despite their differences? And to that I say, of course, in an ideal world, but reconciliation requires good faith on both sides. It requires a genuine willingness to heal wounds, not continually reopen them for profit. It requires discretion, respect, and a recognition of boundaries. Harry and Meghan have demonstrated none of these qualities. Instead, they've chosen to monetize their grievances, to play the victim card at every opportunity, to portray themselves as brave truth-tellers standing against an archaic, even racist institution. It's a narrative that plays well in certain American circles, but it rings hollow to those who know the truth. The truth that the monarchy has been modernizing for decades, the truth that Meghan was welcomed with unprecedented enthusiasm by both the royal family and the British public, the truth that they were given every opportunity to succeed as working royals, including a Commonwealth role that would have allowed Meghan to focus on causes close to her heart. But that wasn't enough for them. Nothing ever is. Meghan wanted to be the star of the show, the center of attention, the main character in the royal story. And when she realized that wasn't her role, that in the monarchy the institution is always bigger than any individual, she decided to take her ball and go home. And Harry, so beside, so desperate to protect her from the media scrutiny he blames for his mother's death, followed her right out the door. What Harry fails to understand is that his mother, for all her complicated relationship with the press, never abandoned her duty. Princess Diana continued her charitable work, continued to represent the monarchy, continued to raise her sons to understand their place in the institution even after her divorce from Charles. She may have struggled with the constraints of royal life, but she never betrayed the core principle of service that defines the monarchy. Harry, in contrast, has thrown it all away for a woman he's known for a fraction of the time he's known his family and his country. And what about Archie and Lyot in all this? Those poor children born into extraordinary privilege, yet cut off from their heritage, their extended family, their rightful place in British history. It's Harry and Meghan's choice, of course, how to raise their children. But it seems incredibly short-sighted to deny them the opportunity to know their cousins, their grandfather, their cultural inheritance as British royals, especially when that heritage includes a grandmother, Princess Diana, whom Harry claims to revere above all others. Would Diana have wanted her grandchildren raised in isolation from their family? I think we all know the answer to that. What's particularly sad about this whole saga is that it didn't have to be this way. Harry and Meghan could have carved out a role for themselves within the monarchy, focusing on causes they cared about, representing the Queen and later the King in Commonwealth countries, building bridges between Britain and America. They could have been a tremendous asset to the institution, bringing fresh perspectives and modern sensibilities while still respecting tradition and protocol. Instead, they chose the nuclear option, complete rupture, followed by a sustained campaign of public criticism designed to wound the family they left behind. And now, according to these reports, they are facing the consequences of those choices. Being formally axed from the line of succession isn't just a symbolic gesture. It's a recognition that Harry has chosen to leave not just the working royal family, but Britain itself. He's an American resident now by his own admission. His children were born in America, are being raised in America, and have never lived in the UK. Why should they remain in line to the British throne? It makes no logical or constitutional sense. As for the titles, well, that's been a long time coming. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles were bestowed upon Harry and Meghan as a wedding gift from the late Queen. They were meant to honor a couple who would dedicate their lives to royal service, not a couple who would use those very titles to secure lucrative media deals while attacking the institution that granted them. The Queen, always reluctant to strip family members of their titles, chose not to take this step during her lifetime. But with her passing and with the continued provocations from the Sussex camp, it seems the palace has finally reached its breaking point. What will Harry and Meghan do if, or should I say when, they lose their titles? How will they market themselves without the royal connection they've relied on so heavily? I suspect we'll see a rebranding effort. Perhaps they'll try to position themselves as global humanitarian activists, independent of any royal association. But the problem is, they haven't actually done the work to earn such a designation. Their charitable endeavors have been long on press releases and short on measurable impact. They talk a good game about compassion and service, but where are the results? This leads me to another thought. Is this why Harry has been making increasingly desperate attempts to reconcile with his family in recent months? His BBC interview, while still filled with subtle digs and passive-aggressive positioning, did strike a somewhat more conciliatory tone than his previous outbursts. He spoke about wanting his children to know their family, about missing aspects of British life, about still caring for his father despite their estrangement. Was this all a calculated move to stave off the very consequences we're now hearing about? Did he get wind that his position in the line of succession was under threat and decide to extend an olive branch in hopes of preserving his status? If so, it appears to have backfired spectacularly. According to these reports, the BBC interview actually accelerated the palace's plans to formalize Harry's removal from the succession. Perhaps they saw it for what it was, not a genuine attempt at reconciliation, but a strategic maneuver designed to maintain his tenuous connection to the institution he spent years criticizing. The royal family may be traditional, but they are not stupid. They've seen Harry's playbook too many times now to be fooled by a sudden change in tone. And what about Meghan in all this? She's been conspicuously absent from Harry's recent UK visits for the Invictus Games anniversary, for his father's cancer diagnosis, for the BBC interview. The official excuse is always that she needs to stay home with the children, but Archie and Lilette are no longer infants. They are of an age where a brief separation from one parent is entirely manageable, especially with the household staff the Sussexes undoubtedly employ. No, I suspect Meghan's absence is strategic, She knows she's deeply unpopular in Britain, and her presence would only complicate Harry's attempts to rehabilitate his image there. Better to stay in California, working on her lifestyle brand and planning their next move. But here's the thing. No amount of jam or olive oil, or whatever other products she plans to hawk through American Riviera, Orchard will replace the status and influence they've thrown away. They had positions of genuine significance within one of the world's oldest and most respected institutions. They had platforms from which they could effect real change or causes they believed in make a tangible difference in people's lives. And they traded it all for Netflix deals and Spotify podcasts and Instagram-ready philanthropy that seems designed more to burnish their image than to help those in need. It's a cautionary tale, really a warning about the dangers of entitlement, of prioritizing personal grievances over duty, of mistaking the trappings of royalty for its substance. Harry grew up in the heart of the institution, benefited from its protection and privileges his entire life, yet failed to understand its fundamental purpose. Meghan, an outsider, never took the time to learn what being royal actually meant beyond the tiaras and the curtsies and the global spotlight. Together, they've created a mess that will take generations to clean up. And now, if these reports are accurate, the cleaning up has begun in earnest. Being formally axed from the line of succession is just the first step. Losing their titles will likely follow. And then what a life of increasing irrelevance in Montecito, watching from afar as William and Catherine carry the monarchy into a new era, desperately trying to maintain public interest without the royal connection that's been their only real selling point. It's a bleak prospect, but one entirely of their own making. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Actions have consequences. Harry and Meghan have acted with breathtaking disregard for an institution that has stood for 1,000 years, for a family that welcomed Meghan with open arms, for a nation that celebrated their union with genuine joy and goodwill. They've broken trust, violated privacy, made accusations they couldn't or wouldn't substantiate, and profited handsomely from doing so. And now, it seems the bill has come due. For those of us who have watched this saga unfold with mounting frustration, seeing the monarchy we love under attack from within, this news comes as a welcome relief. It's a sign that the institution is healthy enough, resilient enough to protect itself from those who would harm it. It's a sign that there are still lines that cannot be crossed even by someone born into the heart of the royal family. It's a sign that William, our future king, understands what's at stake and is prepared to make the difficult decisions necessary to safeguard the monarchy for future generations. And what of Harry himself? Will this be the wake-up call he so desperately needs? Will being formally axed from the succession finally make him realize the magnitude of what he's thrown away? I doubt it. He seems too far gone, too deeply entrenched in the narrative he and Meghan have constructed. The narrative of themselves as victims, as truth-tellers, as brave rebels standing against an oppressive system. To acknowledge the reality of his situation would require a level of self-awareness and humility that Harry has shown little evidence of possessing in recent years. No, I suspect his response will be more of the same. Playing the victim, blaming the men in gray suits, positioning this as yet another example of the institution's cruelty rather than a natural consequence of his own choices. And Meghan will be right there with him, reinforcing this twisted perspective, ensuring he remains isolated from anyone who might offer a different view. It's a sad ending for the once beloved prince, but again, one entirely of his own making. As we look to the future, to the reign of King William and Queen Catherine, I feel a sense of cautious optimism. The monarchy has weathered this storm as it has weathered so many before. It has demonstrated its ability to adapt, to protect itself, to ensure its continuity in the face of unprecedented challenges. William and Catherine have shown themselves to be worthy custodians of this ancient institution, balancing tradition with modernization, duty with compassion, privacy with accessibility. They understand, in a way Harry and Meghan never did, that being royal is not about them. It's about the people they serve, the nation they represent, the history they embody. And what of us, the loyal royal watchers who followed this drama with such interest and concern? Well, my friends, we can take some satisfaction in knowing that our support for the working royals, our criticism of the Sussexes' behavior has been vindicated. The palace has finally taken the steps many of us have been advocating for years. They've recognized that half in, half out isn't a viable option, that you can't trash the institution while continuing to benefit from it, that there must be consequences for betrayal on such a grand scale. So, yes, I'm looking forward to the reign of King William, when these two opportunists will finally face the music, when they'll no longer be able to trade on royal titles while undermining the institution that bestowed them, when the line of succession will reflect those who are actually committed to serving the British people, not those who abandon their posts for celebrity and financial gain. The monarchy has survived for over 1,000 years because it knows when to hold firm and when to adapt, when to embrace change and when to protect tradition. In formally axing Harry from the line of succession, in preparing to strip him and Meghan of their titles, the institution is doing what it must to survive and thrive in the 21st century. It's drawing a clear line between those who serve and those who only serve themselves. It's ensuring that the future of the monarchy rests in the hands of those who understand and respect its true purpose. And for that we should all be grateful. The British monarchy isn't just a family or a tourist attraction or a source of tabloid fodder. It's the living embodiment of our nation's history, values, and continuity. It deserves better than what Harry and Meghan have subjected it to. And now, finally, it seems poised to protect itself from further harm. So there you have it, my loyal viewers. The bombshell news that Prince Harry has been formally axed from the line of succession, with the removal of his and Meghan's titles, soon to follow once William becomes king. It's a development that marks the end of an era, the final chapter in the sad saga of the prince who turned his back on everything that mattered for a life of hollow celebrity in California. What do you think about this explosive news? Do you believe Harry and the entire Sussex line should be removed from the line of succession? Are you looking forward to the day when Meghan can no longer style herself as the Duchess of Sussex? Let me know your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the latest royal bombshell, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join our royal family of viewers. Until next time, keep supporting our wonderful working royals. They deserve it now more than ever.